2020 was rubbish, wasn't it? The impact of COVID was far-reaching and affected us all. But it's over now, right? Or is it? Hi everyone, I'm Natalie from My Progression, and this video is all about the impact of COVID on the children we teach and how we as schools and educators are managing the COVID catch-up. We're going to talk through some of the changes we've witnessed since the pandemic and also give you some tips to support your class if the pandemic is still having an effect on your learners. In March 2020, nurseries, schools and colleges in the United Kingdom were shut down in response to the COVID-19 pandemic. All schools in the UK had closed, with the only exception for in-person teaching being for children of key workers and children considered vulnerable. With children at home, teaching took place online and suddenly our spare rooms or kitchens became our classrooms. The cancellation of face-to-face teaching had a huge impact on how teaching took place, but more importantly impacted how children accessed and engaged with learning. Everyone was impacted by COVID, there's no disputing that. Education looked different for every pupil and schools had to make swift and radical changes to the way their teaching was delivered to make sure everyone could access the learning that was appropriate for them. It goes without saying that these changes to the way teaching was delivered ultimately, due to the type of support at home, technology available and confidence teaching virtually, meant that some children thrived while others were left behind. Now, all pupils' circumstances were very different, and as educators we were concerned about the pupils we teach and their attainment, ensuring to keep them on track, not letting them fall behind. School became a strange and different experience for everyone, teachers included. There were many changes to face after COVID, but some we've seen include disruption with classes opening and shutting again due to positive tests in the year group, anxiety and mental health issues increased massively, cases of domestic violence were also on the rise during lockdown, so an increased level of trauma, a lack of confidence in returning pupils behind academically, and a delay in children's emotional and social growth. Now suddenly, classrooms were full again, but teaching was most definitely not the main focus. Reassurances and a settling in period was needed. But what's been obvious is that there were gaps in learning of so many children, with the more disadvantaged groups being those who showed the most significant gaps. Some pupils are facing a lost decade of progress in schools in England if action's not taken, have been the headlines and supported with reports expressed alarm that it could take 10 years for the gap between disadvantaged children and others to narrow to what it was before COVID. These headlines are a national reflection, may not be reflected of your classroom or even your school. But since the return of students to the classroom, there's been government funding to support schools to help plug those gaps, which look different from school to school. The National Tutoring Programme provided primary and secondary schools with funding to subsidise tutoring, including one-to-one and group lessons. In 2021, the government announced an additional £800 million over the 3 academic years between 22 and 25 to fund an average of 40 additional learning hours across each academic year for all 16 to 19-year-old students. This is extended to students aged up to 24 who have an educational, health and care plan. What's been observed is that lockdowns throughout the COVID period have had a huge impact on schooling across the UK. It'd be impossible to discuss all the areas, but a few state, senior leaders in secondary schools have noted students in the younger year groups have lost confidence working on their own. Nearly 90% of teachers believe emotional and social delay they're seeing in classrooms is related to lockdown and remote learning. 80% of teachers said they've seen disadvantaged pupils fall behind their peers as a result of the pandemic. And most teachers found that the biggest loss in learning was in writing, including spelling, particularly in children's stamina for extended writing. 15% voted for maths and closely followed by reading, which was 10% of teachers. Now clearly, there's so much to contend with to support post-COVID recovery of children with their mental, social and academic health. What's your experiences of returning to the classroom after the pandemic? Have you observed anything from your pupils since returning, or is anything that's changed that you didn't expect? We'd love to hear your views in the comments below. And whilst you're there, please like, subscribe and click on the bell to keep hearing more from My Progression. In schools, there are now no concessions made for children's academic attainments, as the SATs in England have been reinstated and GCSEs are now being administered as pre-COVID. Schools are back to normal, but the children who attend are still dealing with the fallout of the pandemic. and it's the staff who have to try their best to meet the needs of their students. So what can we do? How can we support our students in our classes when schooling has returned to normal, but their experiences since March 2020 are anything but normal? Well, here are some helpful tips to keep you on the right track. Start with what you know. You need to know the pupils in your class, what they know and what they don't, so you can understand what you need to do to bridge the gap. It's more important to assess them post-COVID so you understand their individual needs. There's likely to be a diverse range of issues. Some might have actually benefited. For example, their IT skills are probably better. Utilise bite-sized learning. Over the past 20 years, the average time that a person can focus on one thing has dropped from around 2.5 minutes to around 45 seconds. A professor of psychology has linked this to the increased use of screens and the way we receive information. This doesn't surprise me. I'll find myself scrolling my phone watching videos with the TV on, and then I get annoyed with myself. This means that your class is less likely to sit and concentrate for a full lesson. Break the lesson up with activities and keep revisiting the key points. Strong literacy skills are crucial for progress across the curriculum, so shaping successful catch-up programmes to boost reading and writing can make a real difference to pupils' outcomes. Whatever subject you teach, literacy skills are the basis to accessing the curriculum and therefore your subject. Have high expectations and model high standards of literacy. For example, if you're teaching science, teach explicitly about the spelling of words you're using. You can bring literacy skills to any subject, and by doing so, you can increase the engagement in your class and allow every student to access the learning in a way that suits them. Adapt your lessons to support those lacking in confidence. As I said earlier, this is a larger issue than it was before. So whilst you may have had a couple of students lacking in confidence, now this might be a common issue with 1/3 of your class. Positive reinforcement is going to be so helpful in building the confidence of your class. Asking one of your less confident children to complete a task or answer a question that you know they can do easily will help them feel good about themselves. You can then make these increasingly more challenging as they grow in their self-confidence. Ensure you know what warning signs to look out for. We mentioned that there's been an increase in anxiety and mental health issues and domestic violence. You need to be vigilant and look out for the signs that one of your pupils may be struggling. If you have a concern, raise this with your safeguarding lead to ensure you do this in the right way. For more on this, see our video, Spotting the Signs, linked in the description below. Plan effectively for any extra support for identified children. Schools have used extra funding in very different ways. You may be involved in a catch-up programme in your school, or you might have seen an increase in teaching assistants to make sure all pupils receive the support they need. Knowing the gaps in your pupils' learning is essential because you can then focus in on identified skills which will be integral for the pupils to gain confidence and understanding. Have confidence to change your lessons to address issues. There's absolutely no point in moving on with a higher level skill if the children have little or no experience in some of the basics. Go back and check the steps the children need and reteach those skills to help you move forward. Giving the pupils more time if they need it will only help you foster a sense of support with them, meaning your pupils will be more open to being challenged further down their learning journeys. Have high expectations of your class. It would be easy to lower your expectations and give allowances due to the challenges they've faced over the last 4 years. Don't. High standards and high expectations promote both students' academic achievement and their well-being. Research shows that the expectations of teachers, parents and peers affect students' self-esteem, feelings of self-efficacy and their academic motivation. Set the tone and be clear of what your expectations are within your classroom. It may differ to other staff, but that's okay. The key is to be in control, along with providing lots of praise and clear directions for your pupils. We recognise that it's been challenging for educators as well as pupils to return to the classroom post-COVID. Your ideas of normal have been flipped upside down and you're now having to manage your own anxieties with your pupils' needs or dip in academic success. Remember, you're not on your own. You've got lots of people in your own school that you can reach out to for helpful discussion or support in getting your pupils back on the right track. But in the meantime, remembering to take that time to check in with your pupils, focusing on literacy skills no matter the subject, planning effectively for your lessons and maintaining high expectations will help you make sure that your pupils are back on the track to success. I've been Natalie from My Progression, and let's keep your career in motion.